Where did she come from? So unless we seek the Lord and we seek the culture around him and understand it, and also try to seek where these religions came from. Because the Lord all the time in the Old Testament was telling people, through Isaiah 1:12, he was saying, you worship me with this incense and you burn this incense and you full moons. When you pray, I will not even answer you. Because they polluted the worship of the Lord and they exchanged it with the worship of the Son God. And that is why they have put even this sacrifice, because they say Son God, but they put an of in the middle, the Son of God. So Tammuz or Nimrod, who they say reincarnated. This is just a brief. I'm giving you a brief of history of where do we get all this Easter and Nimrod, because it helps us to understand, and then we will feel the problem. We will get to understand and embrace the problem around Easter, the season that has crept into the church without us knowing what is going on. So Easter is of pagan origin. And why did it come into church, or initially, before I go into the details of Easter? The Christian leaders at that time, you remember the church went underground because they were persecuting them. Nero was killing Christians. Even Paul was beheaded, the one who took Christianity to Rome. And so the Christians were underground. And so the first 2 centuries of Christianity, after Christ's crucifixion, they tried to pull in people to believe. And because the first church was only Jewish, there was a bit of racism. Even the Jews thought that Christianity was only for Jews. For the first 15 years it was Jewish. Even the bishops in Jerusalem were all Jewish. So it was like a religion of Jews, a certain sect that had come up. That's why they were even saying that sect of the Nazarene. Now to go in and to help other people to believe, when Paul took the gospel to Rome, those Christians tried to do something to help people to believe. And what they did, they selected their own, the times or the customs of what those pagans used to do, and they tried to bring them into church. On those days, they were supposed to be outside doing their idol worship. By pulling them in, they were trying to tell them that this is the time of the bath, so that they don't go and do idol worship at that time. All the customs of worship, they started bringing, gradually replacing the biblical festivals, just trying to pull them in. But the Lord did not tell us to pull people in. He said, I will draw them. Those I want you to come will be drawn. We don't have to draw them by the way we dress, the way we work, like now in church. We just have to speak the word, and the Lord God will bring them in. So why did they do this? It was easier to draw pagan worshippers into Christianity and maintain their devotion by identifying the time-honored spring resurrection feast of the pagan, because at that time they had Easter worship. Ishtar is the name of the goddess of fertility that is worshipped on that Sunday, as we are going to see. And this went in, and the Passover started coming out and being lost, because the Lord died on the Passover. That's supposed to be the day of crucifixion. But they have put it on the day of sacrificing children, 3-month-old babies, sacrificing to Tammuz, as we're going to see. Now, where did the mess come from? When you go into these encyclopedias, you're going to find that Nimrod came down in the line of Tubal-Cain, Genesis. We see the line of Cain, and we know that Cain was the one the first son of Adam, who killed his brother Abel. So if we follow the lineage of Cain in Genesis, you're going to find that Cain came down, through Cain we get Tubal-Cain, and from Tubal-Cain we get Nimrod. We won't open there, but it is in Genesis when you have the genealogy of Adam, and you also have the genealogy of Cain. And so through Cain, we find that Nimrod was a descendant of Cain. And Nimrod was the first king of Babylon. He is the first king who was worshipped as a god. And so when he was king, Nimrod began his own world government in Babylon. It was an economical, political, and religious empire. And economically, they were doing things together. That's why they started building one office for all of them. And at that time, there was one language. They did everything together. They had one religion. And so they started trying. Because of that religion, they started trying to build the Tower of Babel. Now, the Tower of Babel was not because they wanted, as we have been told sometimes in church, that they wanted to touch God. That's what they used to tell me. I don't know about you, but that's what they used to tell us. But it was not about touching God. It was about going up there to do astrology. Because their religion was the religion of stars and moon and stars. Because they had already known that God put all these as signs in Genesis. These are lights. We have read about it in Genesis 1. That the Lord put these as the signs and lights to know the season, to know the times. They didn't want to wait upon the Lord to give them what they should have. They wanted to do it themselves, as Eve did in the beginning, and Adam. Trying to get knowledge without waiting for the master. This is the mentality of human beings even today. We want to know more than what we should do, what we should know. And we want always to touch heaven. To think that we are illuminated. I think you've heard about that name as well. Illumination, you are superior. That is what it means. You are up there. But the Lord gave these signs, the lights, in Genesis 1:5. We go down in 3. When he said, and God said, and Yahweh said, let there be lights, and there was light. And God saw the lights, and it was good. And God divided the lights from the darkness, from darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning. You see there? Evening and morning. That's why we need to understand as we go along about Easter, that God's days always start in the evening.